And hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In a previous video we took a look at signing up the user and adding them to the database, creating their profile and so on. Today we're going to be taking a look at logging the user in, as well as implementing a couple of features for the future, and then looking at all the code we've written so far and just going through them, making sure everybody understands what exactly is going on. Alright, so let's get started. So we do have our sign up and we can confirm this is working because when we sign up, if we go to our MongoDB Compass and we go to local and here Meteor, you'll see there's a user profiles. You just blow this up as well. Then there we go. So we see all our nicks we created. And if we go to the user specifically, we can also see the emails we created them with. Note, there is a password, but we can't see it because it is already encrypted. Alright. You can ignore the links database. If it bothers you, you can even feel free to just drop it. And for those of you who are unsure, the connection string to connect to this database is, if we go here, my bad, I was supposed to click on edit. It's just MongoDB localhost 3001/Meteor. And you don't need to install MongoDB again, Meteor will install it for you. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, that we can actually sign up. And here is a look at how the sign up page looks. We can implement the login, which does not have anything yet. Okay, so to create the login page, we're just going to go login page. So right here. Let's add a couple of designs. So we're going to use a space again, direction, vertical, and here we can say sign into your account. We can create an input. This input will be for the user's email. So placeholder is email. We have another input for the user's password. And this will of course be input.password. So it looks like a password input. And we can also add the sign up button and the login button like that. And then just change this to log in. And here we can say don't have an account. And in here where it says login, we can just say create one. And just be sure to import the button from @design. And again, navigate, this comes from router, so const location navigate equal use location. And in public route, you also need to import that. And instead of the login path, we will go to the sign up path. And in handle submit, so just const handle submit. There we go. Now our login page should look a little bit better. There we go. So we need a couple of states. First of all, we'll need a use state for the email, a use state for the password, and a use state for logging in. Make sure to import use state, and then just make sure to attach all of these states to your inputs. And there we go. So we have set our values and we have set our on-change actions. Then here with handle submit, there will be email.trim. Then we can go if not email regex. Again, you do not have to use this. If you want to, you can go to my package and just copy that code and put it in here if you do not use my package. We're going to just say .test and just put in that cleaned email. Then return message.error. Email is invalid. Depending on how strong your TypeScript is implemented, you might want to put return here, because I know you might get errors if you put your return next to the message.error. Then we can check if password.length is less than 8. Return message.error. Password is too short. Then here we set logging in to true. And Meteor already provides, similar to how it provides functionality for signup. So if we go to API, users, methods, set methods, similar to how it provides this right here with accounts.createUserAsync, it also provides an easy way for login, which is actually easier than signing up. So to log a user in, you just say Meteor, import it while you're at it, .login, and there's multiple ways you can log in. You can log in with Facebook, GitHub, Google, and all of these. But we're not going to worry about it, and we're just going to log in with password. So this will require an email and a password to log in with. Then you just put your cleaned email in here and your password. But take note that this login method still uses some of the older ways of parsing these data, so you'll need to add a callback function at the end. So this will run after the user has been logged in or the login has failed. And it will return an error, which is of type meteor.error, if it failed. So you can just say set logging into false, and then if an error has been provided, return the error response as could not log in. And then if you could log them in, you just navigate them to public routes.home.path. And it's as simple as that. We have just created login. And of course, if you wanted to do this logging in thing, you could go here and say if logging in return loading outlined. You can actually put a loading page here, but I'm just going to do that. Or you could even disable the input and put a loader on the button. It does have a loading field where you could input the logging in, and then the button will load and you can disable everything else and so on. It depends on how you want to design that login page. Again, we're not going to focus on that. Now we have Nick, and let's try a non-working account first. So let's say jack@gmail.com, and we put in a random password. We say login, and here, if you go away, something went wrong, please check your credentials. That just means, hey, we couldn't log in. Also, if we say create account, it takes us here. We go here. Okay, perfect. Now we say nick@gmail.com, and we give them, let's say, the wrong password, because now we know this account exists, but the password is incorrect. I say never. Go away. Go away. I hate you. Go away. There we go. Let's try that again. Again, it will give you the same error. Now we try and log in. With the right credentials, it will take us to the home page, but we see absolutely nothing because we have dark mode enabled. So there is a hello there, we just can't see it. Alright, we have just created the logging in feature. So before we continue to the feature I want to implement, or the functionality I want to implement to ease our life in the future, let's just go back a little bit and take a look at signup. It's pretty much the same thing. Here we have all our checks. We set logging into true. Then here we have our email, first name, password, username, whatnot, and we send this up to a Meteor method, and we call it using callAsync. You could use the regular call, which is call, and then it has a callback. However, this method is recommended since Meteor version 3, so prefer callAsync and then just await it. Anyways, so here we call this Meteor method. Now this Meteor method we can find in API, and we can see it's a set method inside of the user. So we know it's user and we know it's set. Go there, and here we go. Here we get all the data. Make sure to pass them in via this interface. It's very important to know this. Meteor checks, same as with on the front end. In this case, we're just doing a couple less than we should actually be checking compared to both sides, so you might just want to add an extra couple of checks here. Then here we actually call a find one method to our MongoDB database. So this uses the user profile collection which we had to create, mind you. Right here we had to create it. So it finds that user profile collection, and here we checks if the username matches the one we passed in. If it does, that means the user already exists. We're going to say, hey, you can't sign up with this username. Then here we use the accounts package, which we added apart from Meteor. So you need to add this package because it doesn't come with Meteor by default. And you create a user account. with that email and that password. This handles a bunch of things for you in the background, so you don't have to worry about it. Then we need to make sure that the user actually was created. It should throw an error if it was not created, so in theory this should not ever happen, but in the case that it does happen, we have checked for it. And in here we insert into that collection in our user profile the user ID, the first name, last name, and the username. So if we go here, warning, flashbang. If we go here, then you'll notice all of our things: username, first name, user ID, first name, username, as well as its own unique ID. We can actually check if we look for this right here. If we go to the users and we say find where the underscore ID is equal to this, we say find, it will give us this here, which is, hey, look, it's Nick. As simple as that. You can also change the layout to look like this if you prefer a JSON-like layout, or like this if you prefer a SQL table-like layout. So just make sure you understand this. You understand that we had to import this via our startup. So here we go, import, and that was finally imported into our server main TS. So it is imported into the server. And make sure you understand that. Make sure you understand that we had to create the collection before we can use it. Make sure you understand that we had to create this Meteor call. And to access this Meteor call, we had to go on the front end and specifically call for it. This is pretty much the whole loop of Meteor, so the rest of the course is going to be this loop with a couple extra things thrown in. Alright, so now let's get to actually creating something that could be very useful in the future. So inside of imports here, inside of API, we'll create a new folder and call it utils. We're going to create a new file and call it models. And here I want to do one thing. Export enum available collection names. You'll notice all my enums start with available. An enum will allow us to set a variable to a piece of text. For example, users. Now if we call available collection name dot users, this will pretty much just give us the text users. So that part right there. If we were to say users2, then this will give us the text users2. And then as well, user profile is equal to user profile. Now this here will be our way of assigning these values to this right here. Because doing this is not recommended because sometimes you'll need to type this again and you'll need to type it correctly. But the issue is we are just human and we make mistake. So if we go here and say available collection names and we say user profile, now whenever we want to use this user profile here, we just call this instead of having to type it out manually, which could cause a bunch of issues in the future. Because if we were to type it out wrong here, like profile, then it will say, hey, this what is this? This doesn't exist, fix it. And it will actually say that you maybe mean profile, and instead of that we go profile. So that's one thing that will make your life a lot easier. Alright, and as simple as that, now things are also going to be a bit easier on top of our login page actually working. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all again in the next Meteor.js tutorial.